One of my favorite ways of documenting student work and student success is through Google Keep. And what's great about it is that it's easy to communicate it with parents as you can integrate those notes into other apps. And we're going to talk about that in a second. To access Google Keep, I'm going to go to my 9 dots and scroll down until I find Keep and access it just here. And you're going to see a couple of notes that I already have created. I can create a new note from this bar right over here. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to see a few labels that we're going to mention in a second. So let's create a document right away. Let's create that note. So I'm going to create a new note with an image because I do have a picture of some student work that I can document on right now. So click on that, it'll access my computer. You can also access images and other items from your Google Drive as well. So we can see here, I have just a quick image picture from a student that I was working with, and we can take this note as to either what the student did or maybe what the student said to describe this picture. So in this case, the student described it as, I wanted to draw two foxes playing together. And what I highly recommend, what I find is most useful is in the title to include the student name. So in this case, we'll name the student Clara, and also to date it. At least that way you kind of know as to when about the student made this drawing and made the comment. So in this case, April 1, 2021. Okay, so we can close this and save it, or the first thing I would prefer doing is organize in a certain way. So we can actually add something called a label. So I'm going to do that right now by going to the More category, and we're going to see what labels do in a second. So we're going to add a label, and I don't have Clara listed here because I would kind of like to have the label and to organize all the work by students. So I'm actually just going to start typing her name right here, and we can see it saying create the Clara label. And I'll click on that there, and it is added to my right-hand side, and I'm going to close this to save. Perfect. So we can see that that note is attached in my collection. So in terms of the labels, if I go over to the right-hand side and I click on the Clara label, all of the labels with her name attached to it will be seen here. So that's a nice way to kind of organize it. I can see the documentation that I have just for her, and then I can make any reports that I need to or do any assessments that I have to do. So in terms of parent communication, which is the next step in this process, which would be great for them to see all the work that she's done, I'm going to hop over to a Google slide that I have open. So I have one called documentation, and I can even make this a little more personalized just for her. So there's Clara. And you're going to see on the left-hand side, we have this taskbar over here. And I can access all of my Keep notes by clicking this button. So I'll do that. And we're going to see the note that I just made for her as at the top of the list and my other two notes as well. I can always search by the labels. So what I'm actually going to do, since this is the one that I would like added to my slide, I'm just going to take it, click, and drag it right over. And we're going to see the images attached to the slide. And also right behind it is the note document that I made. So without having to copy paste, without having to do any form of editing or retyping, I have everything that I documented from my Keep notes here. There we go. And just a little bit of moving around, we can see the image and we can see the documentation that I made. So what we can do next is just share this link directly to the parents as a view-only slide deck, and they can see up-to-date documentation of their child's work. So that is how to use Google Keep for documentation.